Okay guys, so today we're going to be building a very simple and cheap gaming PC. It's been a while since we've actually put a full system together on the channel, so I thought why not start at the bottom. This system here is going to roughly cost you around £250 to put together, maybe a little bit cheaper if you can actually kind of hunt for some parts, but it will actually provide a reasonable experience when it comes to modern software. There are many reasons why somebody would want to actually build this. Maybe you are somebody on a super tight budget and you've got a really old gaming PC that needs a bit of an uplift to at least support the latest version of Windows and stuff. Maybe you are somebody that has never PC gamed before and you just want to kind of test it out, see if it's actually for you. Or even you have something like an older generation console and you're ready to make that move to PC just to see if it is actually for you. Well, this system is going to be perfect for that. It will only cost around £250. Like I say, you don't get a lot for that kind of money, but you can actually get some pretty decent deals out there right now, particularly on the second-hand market. And then we're going to see how well we can actually game on it. Now, the system that we're building today is going to be based off of the AM4 platform, which is probably one of the best platforms that was ever created. And the motherboard that we've got for this is the ROG Strix B450 Gaming. You won't pay a lot of money for these anymore because most people want the 500 series because of the extra NVMe Gen 4 kind of compatibility and overall general compatibility, but these boards work perfectly fine. You can kind of take them up to the latest Ryzen processors. They'll also support some of the older ones too, so you've got a very dynamic range of CPUs that it will support, and this board is a lovely looking board too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it in my opinion. Like I say, most people will want the 500 series, so like a B550. This is a B450, a little bit older, but generally it has all of the features that you really need on a motherboard. The board itself is an ATX motherboard and it comes with a fixed IO shield, something that you don't generally get on very cheap motherboards. This probably wasn't that cheap when it was new, but it wasn't the most expensive either. You've got 4 DIMM slots, so you've got plenty of space for RAM, upgrades, anything like that, and it will support up to probably over 128 gigabytes. That's probably something you will never actually put on this system. You've got plenty of PCI Express ports here for your graphics cards and all types of things, and you also have 2 NVMe slots, so there's plenty of space there for some super fast storage to be able to get your system up and running without extra cables and SATA things and things like that. The CPU that we're going to include into this one is a Ryzen 5. This is a 3rd generation. It is the Ryzen 5 3600. It is a 6-core 12-thread processor on the Zen 2 architecture. This was when AMD actually had their Ryzen processors kind of become very performant. There was a big jump between the 2nd generation and the 3rd generation, and this is probably one of the most popular CPUs that they've ever had, particularly on the Ryzen platform. It is something that many people bought, and they didn't cost a lot when they were new either. You could pick them up for less than £200 at one point, and nowadays not a lot at all. You can generally pick these up boxed like I have here for around £30 off eBay, which makes them a fantastic buy because they're still very performant today and they're really easy to install as well. All you need to do is just flip this little arm up here, take the CPU and drop it into the slot, being careful of those pins and lining it up the right way, and then just drop the little peg down, and that's it, your CPU's installed. For RAM, we have 2 sticks of DDR4. These are 2 sticks of 8 gigabytes, and we're using Corsair's Vengeance RGB Pro. You can pretty much use any kind of RAM that you want. This is 3200 megahertz, runs beautifully with this CPU, and you're going to get some pretty decent speeds off it, as well as some nice RGB lighting. Like I say, you can pretty much use any RAM you want, and it is super cheap nowadays. Most people will be opting for 32 gigabytes, but 16 gigabyte overall is actually pretty decent. It's going to get you gaming, particularly with the rest of the specifications that we've got today. Very easy to install again. All we need to do is just clickety these arms, spin the RAM round so that the notch matches up with the slot, and we drop it in with a click, and we get the other stick and we do exactly the same. We just drop it into the slot and give it a clickety click. For storage, of course, this motherboard supports NVMe's, and that's exactly what we're going to go for. It's going to give us the fastest speed, and the price difference between a SATA drive and an NVMe drive now, particularly one that is supported by this motherboard, so PCI Gen 3, is actually not much at all. So it's probably better to get an NVMe card, even if you have to go secondhand, because it's going to save you a lot of time later on, particularly in things like loading, and it's going to save you from having additional cables, additional power connections and things like that. So installing the NVMe drive is very easy, but you will need a screwdriver for this one. This motherboard doesn't have any kind of fancy clicks or turns or anything like that, so we need to just drop it down on the screw there, spin the screw out, and then it's very easy to install the drive. All you need to do is just line up the slots to the little socket, slide it into place and drop it down, remembering to put that screw back in, otherwise your drive is going to flop out on its little springy interface. So what we'll do is we'll just line that up and we'll just pop the screw back in, And that's it, your NVMe drive is all installed perfectly fine. For the cooler, we're going to be using the stock cooler from AMD. It's the one that will come with the CPU if you purchase it with one. You can pick them up super cheap though. This is the AMD Ryzen Stealth. It's not the greatest cooler in the world. It will make the system a little bit warmer, or at least the CPU will run a little bit warm, but they're generally reasonably quiet and they will get the job done. You can always upgrade this later on and it won't cost you a lot at all because coolers are not the most expensive thing in the world. Even the kind of cheaper models over this, the nice little tower coolers, will outperform this a lot, but it gives you opportunity to be able to do that later. For now, we're going to stick with this, and it is very easy to install. All you need to do is remove the two brackets off the motherboard here and here, because this is a screw down type. Most coolers for AM4 will use the little hook system, so you will need to keep those brackets once you've removed them, and then we just simply screw the cooler down onto the back plate, the same as the actual brackets were, and that's pretty much it. Not forgetting your thermal paste. Make sure you install your thermal paste on the CPU, otherwise it's going to run really warm. It's going to run so warm the system will probably crash. So thermal paste and the cooler onto the motherboard, and that's pretty much good to go. For this system, that is pretty much all the hard work done. It looks very nice and elegant. It looks super modern, so it's definitely something worth people upgrading to if they have a really, really old system, something that's literally not going to be supported by even the operating systems going forward. We've got plenty of space to upgrade our RAM. We've got plenty of space to upgrade our storage. We can upgrade the CPU by quite a few generations, so we've always got room there, as well as our cooler, and the motherboard will pretty much take it. You may need to do a bit of a BIOS update or something at some point, but you should always make sure that's up to date anyway, in my opinion. But so far, everything is looking good. We do only have a few other parts left for this entire build, and of course, the one that is going to make all the difference really is the case. That's going to give us something to put things into, and the case that I'm using today is this one here. This is the Wizmax Artrian, and to be honest, it's probably a little bit too expensive for this type of builds, but you can use any case that you want. There are millions of different types of cases out there, and they range from £20 to £50 brand new, so they're all within budget. It's more down to personal preference. I like this case because it just looks super sleek, it looks super professional, and of course it's going to fit our motherboard in. You will need to make sure there are a few things that you need to check when purchasing a case, like does it fit your motherboard? So this is an ATX case, this is an ATX motherboard. It will fit. If you buy a micro ATX case and you've got an ATX motherboard, of course it's not going to fit, but you can always go down. So if you've got a micro ATX board and an ATX case, that will work perfectly fine too. So all we need to do is remove the screws that are in the case and then just screw the motherboard down. It's not a very difficult task. But then we get to cable management, which might actually take you a little bit longer. With the motherboard installed into the case, there's actually only two things left for us to do, and that is, of course, install the power supply and a graphics card. It's not a gaming PC unless we've got a very decent graphics card, or at least decent enough for this specification and price. The power supply that we're going to be using is a very cheap one, and it's reasonably old now. It is a Corsair CX500. Many people wouldn't recommend power supplies like this, but for the build that we've got here today, we can't really go too high, otherwise we're going to completely blow our budget, and power supplies are not the cheapest thing. There are many different out there you can choose. Just make sure you get a decent branded one, something like a Corsair, and that it's got the right power that you need for your system. The parts that we're using are very low power, so we don't really need a lot, although I would suggest that this is probably something that should be upgraded maybe first. It's very easy to install these, and unfortunately this isn't a fully modular unit. It doesn't even have nice black cables. We're talking about ketchup and mustard here, which is something that I haven't seen in a while, but definitely you can pick these kind of power supplies up for around 25 to 30 pounds. Should you risk it? I don't think there's a problem if it's a nice branded unit, but we do have these ketchup and mustard cables that are not going to look very nice. So that's probably going to be the worst thing in the system, but like I say, probably be the first thing that I would upgrade as well. But it's very easy to install. All we need to do really is just turn the case around, drop the power supply into the bottom and shunt it all the way to the back. We'll need to add some screws into the back as well so that we can screw it into place, and then we just need to route the cables. The cables that we'll need with this one are not a lot at all. We need the twin 4-pin here for its CPU EPS that's going to run up to the back. We need our 24-pin that's going to run into the side here, and then we simply just need a graphics card cable, which is this one here. Now, The rest of them you can just bundle away into the bottom because we don't need any additional SATA, not unless we've got another RGB controller or something, which we don't have on this system, or if you want like a SATA SSD, which can all be mounted to the back to add for extra storage, but we don't need to do that. We just need those 3 basic cables, so we'll just get them routed in as well. All the cables are actually routed in now. We've got the EPS cable connected, we've got the 24 pin connected, and we've also got the power switch connections on here with the fans all connected onto headers and things like that. It's actually a system that is pretty much ready to go. The last thing that we actually have to have is the graphics card, and for that we are going to be using this. This is an NVIDIA Geforce GTX 1060 6GB. It's a little bit old now, but you can actually pick them up relatively cheap. I managed to pick this one up for under £50, which is an absolute fantastic bargain in my opinion. Generally they run for a little bit over that, but if you can snatch up a decent enough deal, maybe on a local sell, you can actually pick them up for that kind of price. It is the Rogue Strix model as well, which means it's a very nice graphics card. It looks fantastic. It's got a triple fan configuration, and it's going to go beautifully with the motherboard that we've put here. You don't have to have an ugly looking gaming PC. If you are spending not a lot of money, you can get some pretty decent things. Now, this is the graphics card here. I actually think this graphics card looks fantastic. It also comes with extra RGB lighting. We are going to be installing it into the system normally, so it's going to be mounted this way round. We're going to drop it into the PCI slot and click it in. There is one thing that I would actually change a little bit about the system, but it would cost you a little bit extra, and that is vertically mounting this graphics card. I think it looks so good. A good vertical mount would actually look very nice, and it would match the aesthetics of the rear fan as well as the motherboard really nicely. But we're not going to be doing that. We're just going to install it the right way around, as many people would call it. And hopefully there's no GPU sag with this one. It's a pretty big graphics card, but I think they've done a great job on the build quality. You can use any model graphics card that you want, really. The GTX 1060, like I say, is reasonably old now, but it's still quite capable. It's not actually unsupported by NVIDIA yet, although they're talking about doing it, but it does make a very nice pairing with the Ryzen 5 3600, particularly if you are somebody that just wants to get started in gaming. The cables are not the best looking cables, but they will do for now, and I think the system actually looks pretty good. Like I say, a system like this will cost you roughly around £250 to make. If you are actually shopping on the second-hand market, you can get cases next to nothing, and you can pretty much choose whatever you want. People are always trying to just get rid of them more than anything. You can get fan kits really cheap pre-owned, and all of the parts in this are actually pre-owned as well. So this is the type of system you can look at buying for £250. But how well does a system like this actually perform? Is it even worth putting something like this together in 2025? Well, let's take a look at some benchmarks and see what kind of performance it gets. So aside from games like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Doom, The Dark Ages, and maybe even Alan Wake 2, all requiring specific hardware that is not present in the GTX 1060, this gaming PC can actually get a pretty decent performance against most games. All of the games we tested were actually pretty modern and they're part of our normal test suite, and you could get a 60 FPS or above kind of performance. That is absolutely fantastic for the general pricing of this system. It goes to show that games aren't really moving as far as hardware ever was, although that will start to run out as things start to include hardware mandatory ray tracing and stuff like that. This system will kind of see its edge at that point, but with a bit of tweaking here and there, all of the other games were completely playable. I think that's absolutely amazing for the price. There are many things that you could do to this system going forward when it comes to upgrades. In particular, you'd want to definitely take a look at the power supply, but I wouldn't do that until you actually upgrade something else that really requires it. You can most definitely include a newer, higher end graphics card in here, and the 3600 would run perfectly fine with it. You can go all the way up to something like an RX 6700 XT. That would work beautifully fine off this system, and maybe even something a little bit newer like the 9060 XT. You will start lagging behind a little bit, or at least the CPU will once you start getting to that range. But again, you can always upgrade this CPU. This motherboard will take all the way up to an AMD Ryzen 7 5800X3D, which is the fastest processor on the AM4 platform, and it will actually behave like a modern system because that CPU is equivalent to many of the modern CPUs that are being released today. So there is the £250 machine, plenty of upgrade space, very low cost, games perfectly fine. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this system. Is it something that you would put together if you were thinking about getting into PC gaming? It definitely gives you the opportunity to test out things like, is it the platform that you like to play with? Could you play with keyboard and mouse if you're moving from console? That's always a question that I get asked. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content, and I'm sure as always, catch you guys in the next one.